but still it has some cracks and joints. So through these cracks and joints, the water passes through the even through the impervious rocks. So friends, whenever we design any dam or abutment or say embankment, then the permeability computation of the material which is being used for any of these structures is important. You must have probably or you may be taught in the irrigation engineering that dams are constructed generally on rocks, because dam has a huge weight, self weight of its own body. Therefore we look for the sound rock to be present there on which the dam is constructed. But I have already told that even if it is impervious rock, the joints and cracks are there. So sometimes what happens, I know many case studies where the dams were constructed, but after say 100 years or say even more, what happens that through the joints of the dam on which the joints of the foundation rock, the water started coming up, and that water even enters into the dam body. So this is very important that suppose a dam is mandatory or dam is essential to be constructed, then and we don't want that water through foundation should enter into the dam body, then we seal the joints of the foundation, rock foundation. Then only after that we start the construction of the foundation. So this is the importance of permeability. So sometimes even the shrinkage cracks sometimes are there, which are responsible for the water to pass through it. Now next thing is that small k means permeability. No other engineering property in this world is so variable as the value of K. For example, in my first or second lecture, I had told you that clay, then silt, then fine sand, then medium sand, then coarse sand, then you see fine gravel, then coarse gravel or medium gravel, and medium gravel, then coarse gravel, then cobble, boulder. You see, cobble, boulder. All these things, these are called soil. This is called soil. And clay has different particle size, which is less than 0.002 mm. Coarse sand can have the particle size 4.75 up to 20 mm. So in this case, because particle size is this much, therefore we can say the pores size is also quite high. Whereas in case of clay soil mass, the pores are very small. So if we look at the values of permeability through any of these soil mass, there is a large variation. If we talk of fat clays are highly plastic clays, and it is very difficult to pass water through these fat clays. It is very difficult because clays virtually do not permit any water to pass through it. So the rate of flow of water through these fed clays is very, very small. Is very, very small. Means you apply a water column, and suppose the water is supposed to pass through the fed clays. It may take 1 year, it may take 6 months. Not even a drop of water may even come out of this fed clay. So uh, the permeability of fed clay is altogether different as compared to permeability through this cobble, or say coarse gravel or coarse sand, like this. Now, for any natural deposits, the K value and the unit of K is same as that of velocity, centimeter per second. So for the natural deposits, for natural deposits, for natural deposits, K value is as large as 30 centimeter per second, and for for clays, for clays, K value is as low as 10 raised to the power minus 9 centimeter per second. So starting from 30 centimeter per second, it is as low as 10 raised to the power minus 9. So there is a range of billion times, billion times, billion times. So there is no other, as I said, there is no other any such engineering material or engineering property in which such a large gap or such a large variation is there. Now, all the hydraulic structures, all the hydraulic structures, all hydraulic structures are designed on the basis of the permeability value only. Because hydraulic structures ultimately are, like earthen dam or earth and rock fill dam. So they are made not with cement, but with the pure earth or earth mixed with the rock fill. And sometimes, if it is a concrete dam, then pure concrete is used. So we have to be very vigilant about the true value of the permeability for the material which we are using. Suppose hydraulic structures can be retaining wall also. Now retaining walls are generally of this shape. This is the retaining wall. This can be made of brick or made of stone. Then there is a backfill. Then there is a backfill. If we do not compute properly the K value of this brick wall, or if it is a stone wall, then water, there is a rainwater. Rainwater is falling on the soil. If the permeability of this is not properly compacted, or if joints are not sealed, the water can enter into the wall body also. So it can cause a havoc. It can cause the detrimental effect, or sometimes, or it can be a dam also. It can be a dam also. So dam is constructed to store water on the upstream side. This is the upstream side. This is the downstream side. So if all the water is passed through it, then this dam can be easily flooded away. It can be broken. And similarly, such situations can create the landslide kind of situations, landslides or similar kind of threats, or any natural threats can take place. Okay. So now, as I said that permeability has the billion times variation. Suppose this is the scale. Let us say this is 100,000. Say this is a log scale. This is 1000. Say this is 10. This is 0.1. This is 0.001. This is 0.00001. And this is the scale of, say, permeability, which is expressed in feet per day. Then this is the range for gravel. Then next is the range up to here is a range for sand. Then up to 0.001, from here to here, this is silt. Silt is expressed as M. Then from here to here, this is all clay. You see, starting from 1 lakh up to, say, this value, the permeability value can change. Whereas if you take the strength, say in pounds per inch square, say it is again is log scale 10 to the power 5, then say it is 10,000, then say it is 1,000, then it is 100, let's say 10, say 1, then from here to here, this is high strength steel, high strength steel. Then up to 1000, this is granite. Granite is a sort of rock. Then up to center of 1000 and 100, this is concrete, strength of concrete. Then between this thing 10 to 100, this is soil plus cement, and rest is the strength for soft clays. So for the strength, the variation is 10 to the raised power 5 to 1, but here you see the variation is 10 raised to the power this much to this one. It's a huge difference. Similarly, say the unit weight. So strength wise or the permeability wise, or say this is the unit weight, then this is say 1000, this is say 100, say this is 10, then this is pounds per feet cube, this is unit weight. Then here this is steel, this is mercury, then here it is granite, then then this is water. So you can appreciate that this permeability has the largest variation. Now, as I said in the beginning, that flow of water, or say flow of groundwater, which comes up ultimately through hand pump, that comes only at the mercy of the soil. If until unless the soil permits water to pass through, you cannot get not even a drop of water. Now, we should remember that the whatever water is passing through the soil, because let us say this is soil mass, the soil mass. And the other thing is that water is passing through. I mean, one is that water is passing through the soil mass, starting from here and coming here. This is downstream, the upstream. So water drops are passing through each and every pores. Water is, let us say, any water is passing through, like say this pores, then finally you are getting water here. So flow of water can either be laminar or it can be turbulent. If the water is passing through the pipe, then it can be turbulent flow. But when the soil or the water passes through the soil mass, then it is the laminar flow. One more thing we should remember, that flow of water depends on, number one, viscosity of fluid, then presence of discontinuities, continuities means the joints or the cracks into the soil mass or the rock mass. Then third is the size and continuity of pore space or joints which depend on size and shape of soil particles, density, then detailed arrangement of soil structure. So it depends on this thing. Now, one more thing is said that when water, let us say this is an open channel. When water flows through this open channel, then it is a well-known fact that water which is close to the surface, this water, which is close to the surface of the channel. The channel can be concrete channel, it can be made of any material. Then here the velocity is less. But here the water drop which is in the center of the channel, here the velocity is more. Velocity is more. So in the open channel flow, the water velocity may be different. Whereas in case of soil, the water velocity is generally considered as constant. And I have already told you that water, it is a laminar flow through the soil mass. Now, I said about the viscosity. The viscosity of the soil is the function of temperature also. If this is the temperature in centigrade, and if this is the viscosity expressed in millipoise, then say this is the temperature in centigrades, So and this is the viscosity, say start up to 12. This is 0, then say 2, then 4, 6, 8, 10. Then the curve is something like this. So as the temperature is increased, the viscosity decreases. So generally the viscosity is standardized at 27 degrees centigrade. So until unless the temperature is changed, you see the variation of the water flow in terms of temperature is expressed like this. Now we can say that resistance to viscous flow increases in direct proportion direct proportion to viscosity and the velocities attained by sleeping seeping fluids vary inversely proportion with viscosity. So we can say that S is expressed as mu times mu is eta times dV upon dr. Here S is equal to shearing resistance and dV is equal to change in velocity in a distance dr normal to flow direction. So we can also say that permeability varies approximately with the square of size of pore space and particle sizes. So there is one formula which was given by Hazen in 1911, and he gave formula as K is equal to C1 into D10 whole square. D10 I had already explained you earlier, is called effective size in centimeter. How D10 is obtained? D10 is obtained from the grain size distribution curve of any soil, and C1 is constant. C1 is constant, normally taken as 100, which varies from 90 to 120. So this formula is used. This formula is used. This formula is used used for clean filter sands in loose state. Okay, so there is one relationship. This is effective dia of flow channel inches, and this is the permeability. Then if let us say this is 10 raised to the power minus 6, this is 10 raised to the power 4 plus 10 raised to the power 3, then say this is 1, then and this side it is 10 raised to the power 5, this is 10 raised to the power minus 6, this is 10 raised to the power minus 8, this is 0. Then this is 10 raised to the power minus 4. Then the curve is, yeah, say this is 100. Then the curve is something like this, starting from here and up to here it goes. This is for laminar flow. And then there is a transition, then there is a transition, there is a transition, and transition is one between 1 and this is transition. So this is the zone of laminar flow. Then this is the zone of turbulent flow. So these details and the curves are very, very important for understanding the importance of the permeability. Now, what are the factors which affect factors affecting permeability? The first is the influence of grain size, then particle arrangements, then dispersion of fines, then density, then discontinuities, then influence of size of soil mass oblique rock mass. Now, one more thing, if this is permeability in centimeter per second. Say this is a scale. Say this is 10 raised to the power 2, then 10, then 1, then 10 raised to the minus 1, 10 raised to the power minus 2, 10 raised to the power minus 3, then 10 raised to the power minus 4, 10 raised to the power minus 5, 10 raised to the power minus 6, 10 raised to the power minus 7, 10 raised to the power minus 8, 10 raised to the power minus 9. Now, if this is a scale, then in terms of drainage, up to 10 to the power minus 3, this is called good. Then up to minus 5, this is called poor. Then this is called practically impervious. Practically impervious. Now, what are the soil types? Soil types up to 1, this is called gravel. Then up to minus 3, this is called clean sand. Clean sand, gravel mix. Gravel mix. Then then up to minus 7, this is very fine sand. Organic sand, mixture of sand silt, and clay. Then this is impervious soils. Means these are clays, you can see. Clays. Now, next is the how to determine the permeability. How to determine the permeability. So, up to 10 raised to the power minus 4 means how the permeability is determined. Is determined by pumping test. By pumping tests. And up to here. Beyond this, it is very difficult to determine the permeability. Okay. Now, from 10 raised to the power 1 means 10. From here to here, this is the falling head. Falling head method. Up to, this is minus 3, up to here. It is a falling head method. Falling head method. Right? And this is reliable. This is reliable. Beyond this, falling head unreliable. Falling head unreliable. Unreliable. UR means unreliable. Okay. So, and you may be thinking that how the permeability of these type of soils are determined? These are determined by consolidation test. By consolidation tests. Okay, so this is the scenario of the permeability. So today I will just stop here only, and you should read yourself about the permeability from any textbook which I have suggested you, and in the next lecture I will start from here on. But if you have any doubt, please ask me. Any doubt? Okay, if no doubts are there, then I can stop here. Okay, thank you very much.
Sir,
Yeah, you want to ask anything?
sir, will you be providing today's slides? I mean, all that you have written.
Just now,
Yes, sir.
right? I will see. सेव करना है ना इसमें?
कीप तो कर लो,
Keep to कर लिया, सेव है ना? हाँ, सेव कर लो। सेव एज को फाइल नहीं।
नहीं कुछ तो चल रहा है।
स्टॉप। CN303 को यहाँ से